Captain Hall, tell me a little bit about this plane. What's the name of it, and what does it do?
Well, this is the Marine Corps AV-8B Harrier II. First came into service about 1985 with the Marine Corps. It's the second version of Harriers. We first started flying them in the early 1970s. This is a much upgraded version due to the electronics and the ordnance and fuel, of course, that we can carry. And its primary mission is close air support of the Marine infantrymen on the ground.
Okay. What does one of these set a taxpayer back?
Well, unfortunately, they're about $26 million a copy. And as high as that sounds, that's one of the cheaper airplanes out on the market these days.
How many do we have in the fleet of these?
Well, we have approximately 200, and that's split between Cherry Point, North Carolina, and Yuma, Arizona. And at any given time, we usually have 20 overseas in Japan, and there's usually 6 to 12 somewhere deployed aboard ship.
What's one of the interesting things about flying this plane?
Well, it's unique in that, of course, it does hover, and it's a very flexible airplane in that we can land and take off in virtually any condition.
So how long have you been flying the Harrier?
I've been flying the aircraft for 4 years now. I have 900 hours in type.
Wow. Is that a lot of hours?
Well, I really didn't have the airplane really figured out until I had about 500 hours in it.
What makes it so complicated? Is it computerized?
It does, of course, have computers for some stability augmentation systems in it, because it is kind of a tricky airplane to fly. It's just that critical regime between 0 airspeed and about 120 knots. It makes us unique. You just have to be very conscious of what's occurring with the airplane during that critical transition speed from engine-borne flight to wing-borne flight.
So the Marine Corps is the only division that has these, right?
Yes, the Marine Corps is the only U.S. people that have it. Of course, the Spaniards fly it, as do the Italians, and of course the English, who originally designed the airplane.
What exactly are you going to do in this plane today in the air show?
What I'll do in it today is I'll just show you briefly some of the capabilities that we have. And bear in mind, the only capabilities I'm showing you is our enhanced flexibility as far as taking off and landing. It is, by all definition, a regular airplane other than takeoff and landings. It does drop its normal ordnance just like any other type of attack airplane does. But what I'll be doing today is demonstrating a short takeoff technique, which basically has engine and wing as far as the takeoff. And then what I'll do is a couple high-speed passes nearing 500 knots, and then I'll do some hovering and show you that the airplane can back up in flight and then translate to the left and to the right. And then the landing will be a slow roll-on landing about 50 miles an hour.
Wow. Well, people like speed, so exactly how fast are we talking in this plane?
Well, this airplane can go about 600 knots, which is roughly a little over 600 miles an hour. So it's pretty fast. It's subsonic. It's not a supersonic airplane, and that's just due to the limitations of the design of the aircraft.
So we're glad we have these, right?
Well, I'd like to think that the Marine on the ground that's carrying a rifle trudging through the trenches is very happy to have us.
Captain DeForge, what is the difference between flying this, say, in training or at an air show and in the Persian Gulf where you were?
Well, a lot of the maneuvers you see during the air show are maneuvers that we do use and to demonstrate just how we employ it in a forward area site where there's no runway. And when you see them hovering out there and doing rolling vertical landings, very short ones, or vertical landings, that simulates that when we're out where there's no runway or a runway has been bombed, that we can come back and land and operate out of a field that doesn't have a runway, and so we can get very close to the battle area so we can get there quicker and more often to support the troops on the ground, and that's our mission. And during Desert Storm, that's just what we did with it. We got very close to the battle area. Matter of fact, we're the most forward deployed fixed-wing unit in the war. We were 5 minutes, some of our forward area sites, we were 5 minutes from the battle area. And so we could turn out, we could fly more sorties and get more ordnance without in-flight refueling because it didn't take very long to get there. So in and out very fast, and it worked very well for us.
Did the heat and the sand affect this particular plane?
Not a bit. Matter of fact, the sand kind of cleaned the blades a little bit, the big fan blades, so it really didn't bother us at all. I mean, the jets performed great. In maintenance, we call a mission capable rate. We had the highest mission capable rate that we've ever had over there in Desert Storm. We had great part support, and the environment really didn't affect it at all. So we were able to keep them flying. We hardly lost any sorties due to maintenance. So we just flew like crazy out there.
Brigadier General, tell me a little bit about bringing these planes to air shows.
Sure. The idea is that we want to bring out to the American public, the taxpayers and those who provide the tremendous young men and women who are in the armed forces, an idea of what we do and the things that we do those wonderful things with. And part of that is to bring out the weapons and equipment that we have. In the particular case of the Harrier, this is an extremely popular aircraft. Nearly every air show in the country wants to have a Harrier demonstration, and the number of requests far exceeds the number of requests that we can satisfy. So we go through a process at Headquarters Marine Corps of evaluating each request based upon the size of the air show, when the last time it had the Harrier, if in fact it's ever had one, the recruiting benefit, and kind of evaluate all of those things and then make the necessary decisions. And based upon that, Kankakee was able to get the Harrier for this year, and I'm delighted to be here with it.
Well, there's a special reason you're delighted to be here. You're from this area.
Yes, I was born and raised in Kankakee. I left here 34 years ago this month to go off to the Naval Academy, and my only fear was that I was not sure that there was life outside of Kankakee, Illinois. But I soon discovered that there was, but it's always a treat to come back home.
And of course, for the record, the fact that you were from Kankakee had no influence whatsoever.
Absolutely, and I'm very happy, Bonnie, that you have that on the record. An impartial panel went through all the necessary credentials and came up with the decision to make Kankakee one of the benefactors.
How excited is the Marine Corps about these planes?
Well, this is a tremendous aircraft. As I told the folks earlier today, what I feel especially proud of is that I've seen this do its demonstrations, but more importantly, I've seen it do what it really was intended to do, and that is to put bombs on target, to provide close air support for Marines or soldiers or others on the deck, and to do so in an extremely responsive and capable manner. And one of the benefits of the Harrier is because it can operate from a forward operating base closer to the front lines. That responsiveness really pays off. And the pilots here I was talking to, they could take off and within 5 minutes were over the target area, able then to deliver the ordnance and then come back and get refueled and rearmed again 5 minutes later. So it provided a tremendous advantage. Other aircraft that were operating from a more sophisticated airfield sometimes had to get refueled 1 or 2 times in order to get to the objective area, and then refueled at least once to get on back to their home base. So that's the tremendous advantage of the Harrier. It's a fantastic aircraft, and the folks here who are about to see it demonstrated are going to have their socks knocked off, believe me.
the sky. Now across the top, she'll push forward on the signal, leveling out. And now an outside maneuver. All the G-forces, 3.5 report, negative beam. Trying to push her toward the canopy at the cockpit. Her head filling with blood from her lower torso. And now, 20 minutes right the ground, building airspeed. Back on the signal, in the sky over the greater Kankakee Airport. There's Patti Wagstaff.
Patti, tell me a little bit about unlimited aeronautics.
Unlimited aerobatics is the highest level of aerobatic competition that you can compete in, and it's pretty much unlimited. It's whatever, although we have compulsory freestyle and unknown programs, we also have a program where you can do whatever you want. As long as you stay 300 feet above the ground, you can do whatever you want. So it's really a creative and exciting form of flying.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people will wonder how a woman can get into something like this. So what was the impetus for you to be into flying?
I just took lessons, and I really wanted to do aerobatics, so I took aerobatic lessons. But pilots are a real helpful group of people, and all you have to do, if you're really interested, is just go to your local airport, and you'll find a lot of people that are willing to help you.
Was it anything that your family was into? Did your father fly?
Yeah, my father is a retired airline pilot, and he still flies cargo, DC-7s and cargo all around the Caribbean, and my husband taught me to fly, basically. So my sister's an airline pilot, so it's pretty much in the family.
So, but it wasn't like your husband teaching you to drive. It was a little more cooperative than that usually, right?
Yeah, a little bit more, and I was lucky enough that he had the plane and wanted to do it, so.
Tell us a little bit about the routine that you're going to do today.
Well, I fly for about 12 minutes, and I do unlimited aerobatic maneuvers. I do tail slides and torque rolls and hammerheads, and an 8-sided loop with half rolls on each side, and a lot of roll. I try and keep it moving, try and keep it really fast and fairly low to the ground, and try and make it look exciting and thrilling.
Now, there's one move that you do that you're the only woman that does it, correct?
Well, the 8-sided loop with the half rolls on each side is a really complex maneuver, and I think I'm pretty much the only one that's doing it now. It's been done in the past, but I don't know anybody else that's actually doing it. So, and I'm going to announce from the cockpit and describe it as I'm doing it too. So.
How long have you been flying?
I've been flying about 13 years now.
Well, is it fun being up there? Do you have a real sense of exhilaration doing it?
Oh yeah, it's flying's the kind of thing that I've never felt that I wasted any time doing. I've never regretted a moment. It's really exciting, it's rewarding, it's challenging, and keeps you out of trouble.
Tell us a little bit about your plane.
It's a German plane. It's was built in West Germany, now just Germany, by a guy named Walter Extra in a factory. And this one's a one-of-a-kind plane. He's built other single-seaters and other two-seaters, but this one's the only one of its kind. It's a wood wing, composite ailerons, carbon fiber and Kevlar, composite tail, and about 320 horsepower, so it's mostly engine.
As she goes straight up into the sky in what we call a tail slide. Hello, Patti. Hi, Hi, Dad. Good afternoon. It's beautiful down there at the airport. And every time you do a tail slide here, then I'll talk to you tomorrow. Why don't you talk to us while you're doing a tail slide? Well, gotta figure out where I am down there. Well, you're in Kankakee, Illinois. That's right, okay. Let me see if I can count them. Here goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I lost it. You're gonna have to do another one and you count them, okay? I think I lost it. I'll pick up back the other way if you like. I can't count and hold a microphone at the same time. See if you can count and fly at the same time. Over. Well, that's a tall order, but I'll give it a try. Okay, now was that 12 point or 8 point? Let's go ahead and do it 8 point. 8 point. Okay, that would be an octagon if I'm not mistaken. That'd be 8-sided loop and going inside and outside on each one of the sides. That's a little trickier than you normally set it.
only.
And it's as infectious as any disease I know. Whenever you're around this man, you develop a great appreciation for what he does and the modesty with which he has done it. Building airspeed out of altitude now. Dave Dacey at the controls of the Super Stearman. Smoke coming on now. Imagine yourself up on the top wing of that airplane. What it must be like as you head through the air at 120, 130, 140 miles an hour. Johnny Kazian holding his wings out.
So I have to ask you this question, Johnny.
Yes.
Do you have a death wish?
Oh gosh, no. I'm 59 years old. I've been doing this for 35 years.
Wow.
I've got 2 lovely grandchildren, and as soon as my daughter gets married, I'm going to have more grandchildren than that. And no death wish, absolutely not. Especially with a guy like Dave Dacey flying. Good Lord, what a fine pilot.
So it's not, I mean, it would be dangerous for the average person, but if you know what you're doing, it's...
Well, I trained as a trapeze artist when I was young, and I think that had to help arms, muscles, shoulder, chest and arms, because you're hanging on all the time. You know, that's what it is, basically, is the wind's trying to blow you off, so you're clinging to the airplane. And then it certainly helps to have a guy like Dave Dacey at the controls, doesn't do anything stupid that's going to shake you off, you know.
Did you train with someone to do this, or is this the kind of thing you pick up?
No, this is, I just wanted to emulate the 1920s, 1930s. I wanted to bring back a part of aviation that's forgotten, which is wing walking, barnstorming. And I've successfully done that for the past 35 years. And of course, we use a wooden fabric airplane, a biplane with an open cockpit, and, just as they did in the 20s and 30s. And when you go to a air show, you should be able to see every facet of aviation throughout the years. I mean, we're looking at the stealth bomber come through here today, and then we're looking at the Harrier out there just hanging in the air.
Is there any kind of communication between you and Dave during the flight?
Well, we've worked so much together that we have different hand signals for different things he wants me to do. And in the interest of safety, if he doesn't feel like something, the air doesn't feel right, or we're at too high density altitude, then he'll just cancel something. And so he'll motion to me, don't do what's next, do the next thing, and he just makes a little circle with his hand and points. So we have a lot of signals, but we're not really in communication electronically,
Okay, so what about the motorcycle thing?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love it. Well, the motorcycles, again, out of the 20s and 30s, the daredevil type thing, although it's not real daredevil. I'm a stuntman, a professional stuntman, and I do a lot of work in Hollywood, and been in a lot of pictures, that you've seen. And when you can give the crowd a thrill, and evidently they liked it here in Kankakee because they printed it on the front page of the paper, this morning. So we're here to entertain. We are entertainers,
Give them big wave, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Dacey at the controls. Johnny Kazian on the top wing. Well, it's like hat on the top wing and hat on the fuselage.
Now,